This is a fast, easy, and delicious fermentation recipe. It's ready within just 48 hours, and I've got multiple flavor variations for you. The first flavor profile I have for you to choose from is cumin. The fermentation process elevates the cumin to a whole other level, packing this carrot salad with amazing flavor. So if you love cumin, you will want to definitely make this recipe using the cumin seeds. The other flavor options are dill weed or an Italian seasoning blend. Let's get started. I'm going to demonstrate the making of 1 pint jar, and the provided measurements are based accordingly. To prepare the brine, add the salt to the water. Oh, and did I mention this is a low sodium recipe? It is. Mix thoroughly and set aside for later use. Next, we'll need some carrots for this fermented shredded carrot salad. I like to peel mine because the skins have a bitter flavor, but you don't have to if you don't want to. You'll need enough that once they're shredded, the amount will come to about 2 cups, 185 grams. Next, add 1/4 cup, 50 grams of raisins. Then 2 tablespoons of sunflower seeds. You can sub the seeds out for walnut pieces or almond slivers if you prefer. The brine, carrots, raisins, and seeds are all the same for each flavor variation. Here's where you'll change it up with the flavors. If you're going to go with whole cumin seeds, you'll need a little spice grinder like this to freshly grind them. The fresh grinding of the seed is responsible for explosive flavor, incredible aroma, and the release of bioactive compounds such as anti-inflammatory polyphenols. The store-bought pre-ground version has been sitting around for a long time, sometimes years, and it's therefore oxidized, so it's lost a lot of those properties. But if it's all you have, go ahead and use it. Voila, in a matter of seconds, the seeds are roughly ground and the aroma is amazing. Sprinkle the cumin over the contents in the bowl. If you're going with dill weed or an Italian seasoning blend, add that flavoring after the sunflower seeds just the same. Except obviously you don't have to grind it up. Pour the brine over everything. Next, with clean wash hands, mix all the ingredients until well incorporated. Before loading the jar, wash it in hot soapy water. And remember to wash the fermenting weight as well. Put a couple of handfuls in the jar. I like to use a canning funnel when loading jars because it significantly reduces spilling. I'm going to use this little Tart Tamper to pack the mixture down. Add 2 more handfuls and pack it down. Add the remaining contents from the bowl and press it down. It should be nice and soupy like this. Add the fermenting weight and press it down firmly. Next, place a loose lid on the jar. The loose lid will allow the fermentation gases to escape, and so therefore there will be no need to burp the jar. Leave on the counter to ferment at room temperature for 24 to 48 hours. A towel or a plate underneath will catch the brine overflow that will occur once the fermentation gets going. 48 hours is really where the fermentation flavor magic happens. It will transform from pretty good to wow. However, do give it a taste test at the 24-hour mark because depending on where you live in the world and the environmental conditions, the fermentation speed can vary. Now, if you live somewhere hot and humid, the ferment may be ready with that explosive, zingy flavor in as little as 24 hours. Simply taste test it and follow your palate. If it's got that strong fermentation zing, go ahead and end the fermentation. If you feel it needs a little more pop, allow it to ferment another day on the counter. However, 48 hours is the typical range for temperate climates. Any longer can result in the fermented carrot salad being over-fermented. And I'll explain what over-fermentation is in just a moment. Here we are at 48 hours, and to end the fermentation, you'll remove the fermenting weight. With a clean fork, reach in and take a bite. To store, keep the weight out of the jar. Place a tight lid on and keep it in the refrigerator where it will last about 7 to 10 days before it will over-ferment and be too sour for enjoyment. Okay, so what is over-fermentation? Over-fermentation does not mean spoil. Rather, in the context of how I'm using it, it means too sour. Here's the science. When a food has a particular high natural sugar, the beneficial bacteria responsible for the fermentation, aka the probiotics, will feed on that abundant natural sugar source at an exponential rate, therefore excreting high amounts of lactic acid. Lactic acid is a good thing and is one of the components that makes for a safe fermentation and is also the source of that signature soury sweet taste that fermented foods have. But too much of it can make the final product too sour for pleasurable eating, resulting in a short-term fermentation. Carrots are a naturally high sugar food compared to, let's say, cabbage used for sauerkraut making. By shredding the carrots, more of that carrot flesh is broken up and exposed. This allows faster and easier access for the probiotics to consume those natural sugars, thus increasing the rate of fermentation. Then the raisins are added to the recipe as well. There's so much abundant natural sugar present and is easily accessible due to the shredding that the probiotics feeding rate is supercharged, resulting in a short-term fermentation. In contrast to the short-term shredded carrot salad are these fermented carrot sticks. The carrot flesh is less broken up, so it takes the good bacteria longer to break it down and access the natural sugars. The probiotics are still getting the needed natural sugar from the carrot to ferment, but at a much slower rate. Plus, the other ingredients are savory, not sweet. So again, the rate of fermentation is slower, resulting in a long-term fermentation. If you're wanting more fermenting recipes, try my stuffed fermented peppers recipe that works with any kind of pepper, hot, mild, or sweet. And how about the fermentation classic sauerkraut? I've got a masterclass sauerkraut video that is an amazing resource, especially if you're just getting started on your fermenting journey. You can find these videos and more in this recipe playlist right here. It contains all my vegetable fermenting recipes as well as links that are provided in the description. Thanks for fermenting with me today, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.